We are less than 1 week away from Chargers training camp right here in Costa Mesa at Jack Hammett Sports Complex. Alongside Jeff Miller, LA Times, Gilbert Manzano, Southern California News Group, and the Athletics' Daniel Popper. I'm Chris Hayre. And guys, let's just start with Brandon Staley. Safe to say we've been pretty impressed with Mr. Staley throughout the entire offseason, how he's handled this offseason. Jeff, this will be the first time we get to see him on the grass in late July with his team.
Yeah, with Staley, the one thing we've all learned is that he's all about relationships and with the players, with the front office, with all his coaching staff. And so I think the foundation's there. I think that he's gone out of his way to make sure that part is taken care of. He's kind of got I think there's a lot of good feelings around him, around this team right now. And now we finally get to see what that looks like on the field. So, yeah, I think everyone around the team is excited to see what his vision looks like when we can actually see it, and then not just talk about it and hear him talk about it and talk about things that are going on behind the scenes, but actually see it on the field.
And you could tell it's a coaching staff with a mix of youth and experience. It seems like the players have really taken to everything that's happened over the last several months.
Absolutely, I think, and they've all said that. And naturally, in a situation like this, you have a new coaching staff. It would be unusual for everybody to come out and say, we don't know about where this team's going.
Exactly.
This new guy, I don't know. But so it's not unusual that they're excited. But I think on top of that, I think he's certainly a guy that the Chargers didn't have to sell on why he got the job. I mean, you talk to him, and after 5 minutes, you understand why he would be impressive. He's a very smart guy. He has a lot of great ideas. There's some innovation to him, and he's open to tailoring things around the players. He doesn't arrive with a system that it's got to be this way or no way. So you understand why players would be excited about playing for him, and also you have a team that has talent. There's no doubt about that either. So I think that's another reason why there's some excitement around this team that is very easy to understand why.
Gil, what a difference a year makes. We were here a year ago, Justin Herbert taking second or third team reps. It was Tyrod Taylor's team. You fast forward to now, Justin Herbert, reigning Offensive Rookie of the Year, already established himself as one of the best quarterbacks in football. In his second year, a new offense, and it's his team now.
Yeah, a year ago, fans came out here to Costa Mesa and couldn't watch the number one draft pick from a year ago, Justin Herbert, this new shiny toy. But when the lights shined on Sunday at game time, we all saw what Justin Herbert did a year ago. So I think now it's kind of passing that bar that he set so high a year ago, which is kind of hard to think to surpass that. What we were thinking, like 5,000 yards, 50 touchdowns, sounds crazy to think, but I think all eyes will be on Justin Herbert, coming to training camp, and not just, fans at Costa Mesa, the NFL, they want to see the Rookie of the Year. What can he do for year two, especially with Brandon Staley and so many new weapons, and especially the guys who have been around, Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler, and Mike Williams.
And a new offense headed by Joe Lombardi, who has a long relationship with Sean Payton and Drew Brees. You hear about the playbook and how complex it is, but when you have a smart quarterback like Justin Herbert, it seems to be picking things up pretty quickly.
Yeah, we saw that a year ago. It was kind of, we had Tyrod Taylor as a quarterback for the Chargers, and you start thinking, well, how much time does rookie quarterback need to get out there and play? And we saw he only took training camp because when week 2 came around, he was very smart out there, reading defenses, playing really fast. So I think the smarts is really, he had that from Oregon. He was a 4.0. Student athlete, biology major. Now you kind of time him with Brandon Staley and Joe Lombardi, and you hear Joe Lombardi, what he's done with the Saints, and it kind of struggled in Detroit because it's so complex, and you got to make things work. But I think Justin Herbert might be the guy because he's so smart. He has it up here, and he can make that work. So I think, seeing everything on the field and training camp, it's not the real games, we get a first kind of glimpse of how that could kind of come together.
It's no secret, Popper, that the success of this team defensively, number 33, Derwin James, is going to have a big say in that. 2018, his rookie season, first team All-Pro. The team goes 12-4. Unfortunate situations with injuries in each of the last 2 years, but he looks like a monster this offseason. He's 100%, and he'll be out here next week.
Yeah, I mean, the talent is undeniable, but it's all about getting him healthy to week 1, and I think that's going to be a priority for the team. Obviously, he's missed 27 out of the Chargers' last 32 games, but when he's on the field, he's a difference maker. Brandon Staley likes to talk about chess pieces on the field, both on offense and defense. That's what Derwin James is. He's the queen on the chessboard because he can do everything on the field. He can cover, he can blitz. Anything that you ask a defensive player to do, Derwin James can do. So you're going to see him moving all over the formation, and if he's on the field, this has a chance to be one of the best defenses in the NFL.
And Derwin and Nas Adderley, they've never played in an NFL game before. Derwin and Joey Bosa, they've only played in 12 regular season games dating back to 2018. If you think about that, if you get 16 games, and health is going to be contingent on that, obviously, but if you can get 16 games with Derwin, Joey, Nas, Kenneth Murray, Drew Tranquill, all on the field for at least a bulk of those, you're looking at a defense that could be pretty scary in 2021.
Yeah, when you look at the last 2 seasons with the Chargers, specifically on defense, it's a lot of what ifs. What if this guy had stayed healthy? What if this guy had stayed healthy? What you're hoping for this season, if you're a Chargers fan, is that all those guys stay healthy and there are no what ifs. But you have talent on all 3 levels of the defense. You have Joey Bosa rushing the passer, as you mentioned, Kenneth Murray and Drew Tranquill in the middle, Derwin James, Nasir Adderley, Chris Hayre on the back end. There's talent at all 3 levels. The question is, can they stay healthy? And as I said before, if they stay healthy, this has a chance to be one of the best defenses in football, primarily because Brandon Staley is one of the best defensive schematic guys in the league. They'll be playing a slightly different style of defense, a little more aggressive. It'll be a more exciting brand of defensive football. So there's a lot to look forward to for Chargers fans, as long as everyone can stay healthy, which seems to be the disclaimer for this team year after year.
No question. All right, guys, let's go around the horn. A player or a position group to watch this training camp? And Jeff, we'll start with you.
Well, I think I'll take the easy one. I'm the old guy, so I'm going to take the easy one, which is the offensive line. That's my prerogative as the old guy to be able to pick my spots.
Well, we will with you first.
And I'll take the low-hanging fruit here. It's definitely the offensive line. I don't think there's no question that the offensive line has not played well for this team the last couple seasons, especially. And they've rebuilt things. Tom Telesco, the general manager, has tried to rebuild things. We think, sitting here right now before training camp is open, that he's answered a lot of the questions that people had about the offensive line. We'll see. But, they've, like Popper was saying about health, certainly there's no question that the health of the offensive line is going to matter in a big way, because that's what's really hurt him, in particular the last couple of years. There's a little lack of development on some guys' part and injuries on other guys' part. So it starts in the middle with Corey Linsley, the new center, all-pro last year. I think most people say he's the best center in football right now. So we saw in 2018 when Mike Pouncey was playing well at center what a difference that could make. So it starts with him and him being able to stay healthy and be on the field. And I think his presence will help Justin Herbert quite a bit in identifying defenses, identifying where the pressure is going to come from, that kind of stuff. And it's very important, in not only for Herbert and to give him time to throw the ball and to pick apart defenses, but also the running game struggled a lot last year. And it was also largely due to the offensive line issues, and Austin Eckler got hurt, which certainly didn't help either. But those guys up front are going to be, I think, the key to how far this team can go, and whether all this talent that we're all talking about, we're able to actually see it on display if they have time to actually show what they can do.
Absolutely, and you got Matt Filer coming over from Pittsburgh, Ode Abushi from Detroit, of course, Rashawn Slater at left tackle, number 13 overall in the draft, and you hope Brian Bulaga can stay healthy in 2021. Gilbert, what about you?
You know, I'm going wide receiver. There's a logjam there. There's a lot of wide receivers.
It's an impressive group.
Yeah, very impressive. So during training camp, you think about the 53-man roster, who's going to make it. I'm looking at wide receiver. It's going to be tough to decide who's going to make it there. And they added Josh Palmer, third-round pick, rookie out of Tennessee, who looks like a Mike Williams clone. He's a big body receiver, jump ball kind of guy. And I want to see what he does with Justin Herbert. But then you think about KJ Hill. You think about Joe Reed. A year ago, rookies that didn't do too much. Maybe year 2 they figure it out, and it's better competition. But we also got to remember Jalen Guyton, Tyron Johnson, the speedster. So obviously Mike Williams and Keenan Allen are going to be there 1 and 2. But who's going to be 3? Who's going to be 4? And can you have a 5th guy? Can Joe Reed be the versatile guy you wanted a year ago? So for me, there's so many storylines at wide receiver. And when you throw in a guy who's a third-round pick, Josh Palmer, you think he's going to be in the mix somehow with a new coaching staff. But I'm concerned about KJ Hill, Joe Reed, and to an extent Jalen Guyton and Tyron Johnson. So for me, I'm already thinking about what I'm going to write in training camp. It's going to be wide receivers heavy.
And special teams are going to be so important in an effort to make this team at the wide receiver position.
Yeah, definitely. If you're a guy like Joe Reed and you could get that kick returner job, and you're pretty much safe. You're a specialist and you could do more things than an explosive guy. But yeah, as you hear Darius Swinton say, that you got to make the roster through him, special teams. So we